If you saw my Endgame review, you already know what I think of Marvel. If you didn't, then the summary is that Marvel movies are basically cinematic potato chips. They don't make me laugh, cry, or reflect on deep inner truths, but they are fun and have cool visuals. But this is most Marvel movies, not all Marvel movies, and I liked Homecoming a lot more than I liked, for instance, Age of Ultron, or even Captain America Civil War. Spider-Man's been my favorite superhero since the Sam Raimi trilogy. I've always loved watching him balance his personal and superhero lives, and the Watts version has the benefit of Tom Holland and a noticeable lack of pizza time and whatever the heck this is. Far From Home is a genuinely good summer movie with enough heart and humor to please casuals and interesting references to past movies through the antagonists for more hardcore fans. It didn't make me laugh or cry, but that's because I'm a heartless critic. Even so, I did have fun. This movie is great for longtime Avengers fans, but I also think anybody could walk into this film and understand what's going on. So this gets a 6 out of 7 stars, both as a film and as a Marvel film. Now for the fun part. Here are the good and bad things about this movie in as much delicious, spoilery detail as I can think of at 12:17 in the morning. The visuals, especially the CGI, are pretty good, and the fight scenes were cool. Probably my favorite visual was the suit design scene, but that's mostly because it was a cool callback to Tony's hologram obsession. Like, seriously, every single movie, Tony! In this film, Peter vacillates between awkward, sweet, and angsty self-doubt, which actually turned out to be pretty perfect for Tom Holland as an actor. The supporting cast is good, especially Zendaya, but Tom really does steal the show. The scene when he yells at Happy is my favorite piece of acting in the entire movie, all because of how genuinely frustrated and angry he sounds, but then he tacks on this perfectly Peter Parker, sorry I shouldn't have yelled, at the end. These actors feel consistently in character, unlike some other movies recently, and they did a good job. But the actors are not their characters, and so I will take a moment to say that I actually didn't like most of the background characters. Happy was much better than in Homecoming, Ned was okay, and the other kids were funny, I guess. They were just kinda whatever. The two characters I was most iffy about had to be Mysterio, the surprise villain I definitely didn't identify the first moment that Peter and he met, and MJ. No offense to the actors, the acting was solid. I just have mixed feelings about how the characters were written. Mysterio doesn't deal enough damage to actually feel like a threat. I mean, sure, he throws Peter in front of a train, but the only reason he was able to was because of Peter's unexplained spider sense block. If you're really going to go full-on cartoonish evil supervillain, then at least make him a real threat. And MJ... well, ironically, she's not a very developed female character. She's the girl Peter likes and wants to impress, and she likes him too. But when he kinda sorta asks her if she likes him, she lies. And, I mean, it was a very well-acted scene. But because of this, I wanted her to have some kind of learning how to push past her social prickliness and actually show emotion arc. The emotional shield of sarcasm can be pretty dang hard to turn off, and if we'd seen her struggle with it a little bit more, I might have actually been able to relate to her. As is, I don't really know why Peter likes her. Also, most of the characters have this weird, semi-absurd feel, like they aren't exactly people, but instead caricatures and a joke your uncle tells you while sopping drunk after Thanksgiving dinner. Especially the chaperones. I mean, I know they're supposed to be comic relief, but seriously, I have met more realistic D&D characters. On another note, undermining your own dramatic tension for humor is this little thing called bathos. And if you've seen any Marvel movie in the past 8 years, you've seen it. Now granted, this movie had a lot less of it than most Marvel movies these days. Even so, there were constant gags running through the entire thing, with varying effect. Some were, I admit it, genuinely good. As someone who went on a school trip out of the country right after I saw Endgame, I can attest that international travel is a special kind of hell, and watching it brought back some bitter, bile-tasting memories. Which, you know, for the context, actually was a good thing. Not for my mental stability, though. Not for that. On the other hand, remember how we were all traumatized for about 2 months by Endgame? Remember the broken streets and the broken people? Remember how apocalyptic that felt? Remember how 3 of the Avengers are gone for good? Well, at the start, it's kind of played off as a joke. I mean, sure, Iron Man's legacy is a major plot point of the entire film, but the first time you bring him up is in a slideshow with Celine Dion playing in the background. That's not okay. Also, the only mention of families separated by the blip is in jokes, which feels, you know, weird considering the apocalyptic circumstances the world has been in for about 5 years. Like we're actually supposed to forget the deep social, political, and economic impact of having half of the world killed off and then brought back 5 years later? This is supposed to be a big deal. Anyway, I'll grant that Peter's emotional ups and downs were handled respectfully, but I didn't like Happy's speech to Peter in the end. Everyone wants Peter to be the next Iron Man, and Happy resolves Peter's crushing self-doubt by basically saying, Tony trusted you, so go be the best Spider-Man you can be. Now, I respect that they didn't make this scene into a joke, but it was used to wrap up Peter's main inner conflict without Peter actually doing anything. The return of Peter's spider sense later on was, I think, supposed to show his inner growth, but I never really understood why it was gone, so it just kind of felt like Peter had been an idiot earlier. All in all, this film didn't have the emotional sucker punch that I wanted it to. I'm sure a lot of people will disagree, but I tried to be open to this, and I just didn't love it. But I did like it, though, and it definitely deserves a 6 out of 10. It's a fun, solid summer movie, and if you are okay with looking over a few plot holes and like that kind of humor, you should definitely go see it. Anyway, have a great day, everyone. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, keep an eye out for me.